What up, everybody? It's your boy Kentario, and we are back again with another episode of Christ and Comic Books. And today, this video is going to be a review of the hit series known as the One Piece. Calm down, okay? I know you guys have been looking forward to this, as we are going to be making sure to give a Christian perspective of this hit series. And to be totally honest with you, I do have a bias to it, mainly because I have took the time to collect so many volumes of this series. Let's go check it out, as a matter of fact. Okay, look at that. Now you're looking at like a midsection, but that's because the other ones are in the back. Look at these beautiful, sexy things. Look at that. All the way up to 96. Before we dive into this actual video, I want to make sure to let all of you know that please make sure that if you like the content that's being produced on this channel, that you go down there and hit that subscribe button. Also, if you like this particular video, hit that like button and leave a comment in the comment section giving me your feedback, letting me know what you think, and even more so, some of the stuff that you guys would like to see. With that feedback, I'll be able to produce much content for you, and I pray that you all are blessed and have a good time. Now let's get into talking about One Piece. Now as we get into doing a review of this series, I want to start out by acknowledging Goat Oda, Goda, however you want to call him. Iichiro Oda, the greatest manga creator of all time.
What did he say?
Personal opinion. And I dare not disrespect any of the other manga creators who put in so much time and effort to create their series. But a lot of work goes into doing this, and Iichiro Oda is the guy to put in that work. This man puts in 7 days a week of work, doing over 10 hours each day to produce the chapters for this series. And even more so, he doesn't make the mistake of slacking. He doesn't produce something good in one area and then do something bad in another area. When he's writing this series, he's not just looking to put something out just to say I wrote a story this week. He is putting out something that is connected from the beginning all the way to the end in the interchangeable pieces within the middle. I told you guys I'm gonna sound biased. I'm sorry, but I gotta acknowledge the hard work that Goda does. You gotta acknowledge the hard work. You see, he started out by doing a series known as Wanted. I think he did it around 1992 or 93 is when he first started to do that. And that was a Wild Wild West one-shot that he put in for Shonen Jump. And in attempting to do that, of course, that series didn't immediately pop off, but it did get Iichiro Oda's foot in the door with Shonen Jump. He went on to make other series, one of which was a prototype series known as Romance Dawn, which was the intro, I guess you could say, or the first shot at him trying to make the actual series of One Piece. Where that one didn't immediately pop off. He did some adjustments, probably by the suggestion of his editor, and ended up producing the series that we have today, known as One Piece. And I am truly thankful for it because it's a blessed series, and what I mean by saying that is that this series takes underdog aspects or points and takes them to another level. He gives, a weak ability meaning. He gives different art styles credibility where a character may be perceived as ugly. He even has intent behind doing things like that. But I am so glad that he brings these things to the table because it also opens the door for other creators to bring something new to the table. This man works so very hard, and this is the last piece that we'll speak on with Iichiro Oda, is that he pushes so much so that he puts his health at risk. And I don't mean necessarily like just not eating, where there might have been times that actually happened, but the main impact that he's had is lack of sleep. Like I said, he puts in over 10 hours. Some people say he does about 17 hours per day. With that being said, there are times after putting in a lot of work where he has to take a break. So he makes sure that he gets some rest and restoration before he gets back to this great work of art. And so I want to just acknowledge that and say thank you, Iichiro Oda. Please make sure that you're taking care of yourself. And we are looking forward to seeing the end, a great end to this masterful series. Now let's actually talk about this series. And this series begins with a pirate having been taken in by the Marines and put on death row. He's about to be executed, and in his final words, he challenges the world to go out and seek the treasure that he has had hidden away, known as the One Piece. A treasure that is extremely difficult to find Barely anyone knows where it is, and this man is believed to be the last man to know where the One Piece is hidden. But he challenges the world to go out and see if they can find the One Piece. So with this challenge being set out, many of people gather together, establishing their own pirate crews to go out into the world to find the what? The One Piece. And that's where we get into the main character of the series, known as Monkey D. Luffy. Monkey D. Luffy is a young boy whose marine grandfather has dropped him off in a city known as Rogue Town. Of course, his father is absent as well as his mother at the beginning of this series, and this young man, instead of desiring to follow in Grandpappy's footsteps, who wants his grandson to do better than his parents ever did, he has decided, nope, I'm not even going to join the Marines. I am going to become a pirate. Now, why does this young boy want to become a pirate? It's because of all of the stories that this kid has heard from a man by the name of Shanks. Him and his crew, known as the Red-Haired Pirates, stop in the Rogue Town from time to time, and in doing so, they have befriended this young kid. And they share their stories of their adventures and of their battles with this kid, and it really hypes him up to look forward to wanting to become a pirate. And even more so, he has heard the tales of the adventures of Gold Roger. And in hearing these tales, this has sparked in him the desire to do the same as these pirates have done. Now, in this one instance, where what has happened is he has found a case with a special fruit inside of it, but he was hungry at the time. So he gets his hands in the box, begins to eat this fruit. Not knowing what it was, it tasted horrible. He tries to spit it out, but the abilities that come with eating this fruit have already kicked in. What Luffy has eaten was known as the Gum Gum fruit. And in eating this fruit, he gets the power to stretch. Simple as that. The side effect being, he will no longer ever be able to swim at sea ever again. Now, Shanks had this fruit hidden away for one reason or another. A lot of us have our theories about that, but we'll just save that for another time. But in him having eaten this fruit, now he has these abilities. Shanks is mad at him, but it's too late now. There's nothing we can do about it. In the same instance, some bandits come breaking into the bar where they're all chilling at, and they come in to just take all of the drinks that this bar has. Shanks, being the cool, calm, and collected guy, goes to offer his drink, being that they have already ran out due to the pirates, and the bandit goes and starts disrespecting Shanks, beating up on him, pouring drinks on him, flipping tables all throughout this bar. And this is frustrating Luffy. Luffy is looking to lash out on these bandits, but Shanks keeps it cool and says, don't worry about it, don't nobody touch him, and they just let them go. The bandits leave. This leaves a bad taste in Luffy's mouth, because Luffy thought that these were strong pirates. This is going to be the way of pirates, I don't want to be like these guys. So he's a little taken aback by what he's witnessed, but this is due to his lack of maturity. And in this very same instance, the bandits come rummaging through the town once again, and Luffy, not standing for it, goes to attack these guys. But in attacking them, they've decided, you know what, just because of you attacking us, we're going to kill you. And so they take him and threaten his life, and the red-haired pirates are found by the bartender who cares very much about Luffy. Of course, we know the pirates do as well, and the pirates come to Luffy's aid. Now, for Shanks, it was one thing for you to disrespect him. He didn't care. He knew as a grown man, as a mature man, that that would be a waste of time to entertain these behaviors and practices of these bandits. But now these bandits have come against somebody that he loves and that he cares about, and he's not standing for it. So they come to face off against these bandits, putting them in their place, but the leader runs away with Luffy in hand. They get to a boat and they try to run off to sea, and in doing so, a great sea monster that lives on the coast of Rogue Town ends up attacking the boat, and Luffy begins to drown. In Luffy beginning to drown, the sea monster comes to approach him, and Shanks saves his life. But Shanks saves his life at the cost of his left arm. In sacrificing this arm, this has really had an impact on Luffy. One, now he has a different perspective of Shanks' character and what it means to be, one, a man, and two, what it means to be a pirate. And this stirs him up to pursue his dream even more. After the red-haired pirates leave, Shanks gives Luffy his straw hat that he possesses, placing it on his head. Luffy, treasuring that hat, begins his training, and then 10 years later, when he turns 16, goes on his adventure out to pursue what? The One Piece. He is looking to become a great pirate, as he is going to be the captain and is in look of 10 new members to join his pirate crew. Let the adventure begin. Now let's take a moment to talk a little bit more about Luffy, and then talk about his pirate crew. Now the thing about Luffy is Luffy operates as your regular shonen main character. And what I mean by that is they're not the brightest, they're not the smartest person in the room. That being said, they have a lot of charisma. They draw people to them, and not only that, they have strong battle prowess. In Luffy's case, it's not necessarily learning a martial art or some fighting form, as much as it is establishing and growing his instincts and techniques in those areas of fighting ability. So he's trained in the jungle to build his strength, and even more so, he's established his understanding of how to properly utilize his stretching powers and be versatile with that. Even more so, you see all throughout the series where he's coming up in real time new moves and techniques to use in those moments to help him win certain battles when he's facing certain types of opponents. So he was fighting what's known as a fishman at one point, and in fighting this fishman, he entangles his fingers to make a fish net to capture him. So he's very strategic in how he uses these moves. They're some of my favorite moves, as a matter of fact. And like I said, he's an underdog person, and when he's using these abilities, he's doing it in such a different way than anyone's ever seen in Marvel or DC. He's outbeaten as far as stretching goes, Mr. Fantastic, and in my personal opinion, Elastic Man. He's shown himself to be that creative, and I can't help but respect those abilities. But where he seems to be an idiot in one sense, he's actually extremely mature for a 16-year-old. He already comprehends the hardships that the real world will be introducing him to. And so since the real world is going to be challenging him in several different ways, he's hardened to be able to face those challenges. And that's something that is extremely respectful about him, which is also why his crew respects him. Because he doesn't back down from a challenge, but two, he knows how to carry himself in certain situations, no matter how idiotic he can be. Along with that, one of the things that is a part of his mature nature, as we get into talking about his crew, is that he knows who he is. He knows he's not the brightest person in the room. He won't deny that. But one of the things he also knows is, as I am looking to pursue becoming what's known as the Pirate King, finding the One Piece, as I'm looking to pursue that, I need people that can fill in the gaps within myself. To be a part of filling in those gaps for specific reasons and roles, that way we can truly succeed. One of the first people he picks up is a swordsman known as Zoro, who is trained in a 3-sword style. Now, I want to premise this that I will not be going over every single member of the One Piece crew, but at least 4 of them, so you can kind of get what I mean when I say he found people to fill in gaps. He's found his right-hand man in Zoro, who's trained for the 3-sword style.
Let's talk about something like this. It is very hard and it hurts a lot. Okay?
Whew, that was really hard. None of y'all laugh making any gap jokes neither. I don't want to be hearing that in my comic section, okay? Chill out. But you see, that's Zoro. Roronoa Zoro is the right hand of Monkey D. Luffy. Now, to give you the other positions that are in place here, we have a navigator, we have a marksman, we have a shipwright, you have the researcher, I guess you could say, the philosopher of the group. You have the musician, you got a medic, you got a cook. You see all of these positions needed that he cannot fill himself are being covered by other members of the crew. And that's what's so significant about them. He's thinking these things through, not only just for the piracy part of his life, but life in general. These are the type of people I need in my life that can build me up and get me where I need to be and where I'm looking to go. And that's something that we all can learn to do. Is it doesn't hurt to partner with people that can contribute to your success. You just need to know where your limits are and know who you need in your life to do exactly that. The next thing I want to kind of give you some highlights on are the power systems in One Piece. Those power systems being either, just natural skill. You train really hard to become a martial artist, combatant, skilled with a weapon. Like I said, Roronoa Zoro trained for the 3-sword style. You can put in the work to learn a certain fighting style. The other is Devil Fruit. Now, with Devil Fruit, there are 3 types of Devil Fruit. There are Paramecia, Zoan, and the Logia types. Now, when you're looking at the Paramecia, that is the main one that majority of people get their hands on. Now, the simplest way of explaining it is when you eat that devil fruit, it gives you superhuman abilities. And superhuman, like we can see with Luffy, the stretching. Others, you know, their body either transforms into a different shape, a different form, a different figure of some sort. Those are a lot of different ways that the paramecia is used. There's even one guy who turns his skin into a jacket.
Boy, if you...
Which everyone has voted for, and as much as I've tried to justify this ability, it is the weakest ability. You turn into a jacket, and you don't do anything unless someone puts you on, and you enhance their strength, I believe. But otherwise, it does nothing for nobody. But that's paramecia. It changes something about your physical nature and gives you abilities to accommodate. Now, the other one is going to be the Logia type. The Logia type is really a fan favorite, which a lot of people think might be the most powerful of the versions, but your molecular structure is transformed into something from an elemental standpoint. So we have, of course, seen fire, we've seen ice, we've seen magma, you've seen people do light, you've seen people use this ability in a bunch of different ways. There's one guy with sand, which was one of the most underdog fights in all the anime. I don't care what nobody says. Luffy versus Crocodile, underdog fight of all time. You got a dude who transforms into sand versus a rubber guy. Who wins? Who wins? The Sandman. But guess what? Underdog came out on top. Winning the gold. Winning the gold, I tell you. That's my boy Luffy coming out on top, okay? Not playing with you. Anyway, keep it going. Now, the last one is the Zoan type. The Zoan type, I think no, it's not something for the furries, okay? But the Zoan type allows for you to transition into an animal. You either yourself change into whatever animal complements that fruit, or you're a hybrid form between man and that animal form. Now, there are other ways to kind of manipulate those abilities, like you can manifest certain parts of that animal and their abilities and use that to your strength. But there are many ways that is used. That's not even limited to just regular animals that we know here now today. That can extend to mythical creatures as well. So it's a very grandiose ability, devil fruit, in the way that it can be used. And this again speaks to Iichiro Oda's creativity for him to create this ability, the devil fruit, and it have these options. Now, here's the downside: is the devil fruit comes at a cost. As I said in the beginning, anyone who eats a devil fruit, one bite is all it takes. You lose your ability to swim in the ocean. There seems to be some connection between the ocean and anyone that eats a devil fruit, as the tales speak of there being some devil of the sea who is the one that bestowed this fruit out into the world. And that cost, of course, losing your ability to swim. You will drown if you go into the sea. You lose strength when you enter into the sea. There are even stones that are deep within the sea called the sea prism stones, which if they even touch you, that you begin to feel weak as if you are in the sea. Like I said, that's the drawback of eating a devil fruit. Now this gets us into the last ability known as Haki. Now, me personally, I originally felt as though Haki was like, okay, because like I said, so we had where in One Piece, Luffy was fighting a guy with the sand abilities, Mr. Crocodile, right? Who is one of a high-ranking pirate of the sea. And in him fighting him having sand and Luffy having rubber, you know, that was a hard fight to fight. And he created a way to where this ability has a weakness that Luffy could take advantage of. And he did that at least 2 different fights where there's a weakness to the Logia Devil Fruit. He took advantage of that in 2 instances. Now, where that becomes difficult is doing that for every single type of fight and having a specific weakness and creating that. Now, I believe as frustrating as that can be in some way, in another way it's very wise, he created what's known as Haki as a way for people to combat those that are powered by Devil Fruit. Okay? Now, I'm going to explain that here a little bit deeply. This allows for him to not have to create specific instances for different types of Logia. But this now instead, okay, this is the standard for if you don't have a Devil Fruit power, you can use this to fight someone that has it. Granted, Devil Fruit users can learn Haki, which boosts their abilities, but it's a good defense, right? But Haki allows for a person that uses that to, like I said, combat someone with a Devil Fruit, particularly the Logia. You can't use your Logia, which allows you to become that form. So let's say you become ice, you punch ice is just gonna break. You punch fire, you're just gonna phase through it. You punch magma, it's just gonna go through it. So you can't do anything to its molecular structure. So the Haki allows you to make contact with that physical body versus you just phasing through it, or you just punching in fire, right? So that allows for that different result. Other forms of that allow for you to harness different techniques, where we've just recently been learning with the newest arc, where if you use Haki, you can use it to make contact and it hit the inner being of that thing, which, like I said, that fire, you hit that person that's within it. Another way of using it is to cause a form of armament Haki, which is like an edging form over you that makes you hit without making actual direct contact. So that's another form of using that technique to the best of its ability. Other Haki users have used that to combine with their Devil Fruit, which takes their Devil Fruit to a whole nother level. So it expands that ability, which is amazing. And there's so many details to it that I would exhaust you trying to explain all the different ways that Haki can be used. Now, with Luffy's character, he's a special character who, because of a race which he comes from, which you'll have to watch to find out, a race in which he comes from, they have the abilities, I think the ability of the three kings, I think is what it's called. And so he has different abilities due to Haki that allow him to be dominant in other ways, I guess you could say. And so Haki, like I said, is another piece of the power system. Okay, now that we have discussed the power system, let's get into the positives and negatives. This is not the Christian perspective. This is just a general observation of the series. Okay, now a lot of the negatives, the main negatives, is that of the drawing style. Not a lot of people like the art style. It's pretty simple. If you were being immediately critical, you would think that an elementary kid drew these, right? If you're being immediately critical. And that's something that really turns people off to it. Now, if I'm going to say opposite to that, there is an intention behind it, because with him drawing this in the form of an adventure, that means he's responsible for the characters, the land, the different lands that you meet, the different costumes that these people have, the different islands that they're going to be going to, the different types of ships, creatures, all of these things he's responsible for. So in drawing with a simple style, that allows him to broaden his form of creativity versus limiting it because he's not making each picture look perfect, right? So that's what allows him to really produce all of these great works. Another piece to that drawing style is when he draws somebody old, they look bad and ragged. He makes some ugly characters, old ugly characters. If someone's just ugly, man, Iichiro Oda has mastered ugly characters. Nobody can beat Iichiro Oda at making somebody ugly. And in some ways, he does it with intent. In one sense, I've observed this to mean that he's capturing reality when he does that, because not everyone's going to be looking perfect fit and going to combat. There's going to be some people who are out of shape or look weird who are capable of becoming strong in different ways. And so for him to illustrate them in that fashion, especially if they get their hands on powers in some way, shape, or form, they're going to be a threat regardless. So it doesn't matter how they look, they're going to be a threat. And when he's creating old people, he's made this a consistency across the board, is that if someone gets old, they're going to start to look decrepit. And so he does that with every single character. He even did this once with the characters of Luffy, Zoro, and Sanji, where he illustrated them aging. And of course, you know, they look cooler by the time they look 40, but once they get like 50, 60, and 70, they'll start losing teeth, their hair's falling out, you know, they look fat. Like, he captures those realities. Even with women, you know, he got them looking vivacious and one insensible. Once they reach a certain age, gosh, wow, they look bad. So he's fair. And that's something that, although it's a turnoff for people immediate, you learn to understand that as the series goes on. Okay, so that is one piece of a positive negative. That other thing being that a lot of people don't like the stretchability. Oh, that's it, all he can do is stretch. This guy can't beat anybody in any other verse. Those are power scalers. Those are people that just like battles and don't like a great story and character. They simply focus on that, and then they lose sight of the greatness of the series when that's the only thing that they care about. They lose sight of the story. They lose sight of the character development. And they miss out on all of that when your only focus is power. But again, I can acknowledge and understand where that is a turnoff for some people. He stretches? Nah, that's weird. Okay, you can't fight people on those types of things, right? You can't fight them on it. The main argument that people make and have when it comes to One Piece is that it's long. This series currently is at 1,027 chapters. 1,027 chapters. You probably put maybe 5 to 10 chapters per book. But even then, the episodes are up to 981 episodes. Now that's extremely long. And so people don't want to be trying to start the series that's this long because they feel as though, man, I'm never going to get to the end of this. And it's not even done yet. I can't invest that much time into a series, which is understandable. How did I do it? I got into the series in early 2000s. So when I was able to start making some money, I started buying the series barely when I think it was barely into the middle of it, or 50 volumes in. So I was able to catch up pretty quick because I got committed to it. So don't pick on me. Don't pick on me. Anyway, okay. But I was able to kind of invest sooner than later, where now that we're this far into the series, a lot of people don't want to make that investment. That's completely understandable. But like I said in the beginning, this is an intentional work. This guy isn't just putting out random chapters. This stuff is connected. So it's a worthwhile investment when you're talking about a great story. Okay? But that's the biggest negative. Now, if I'm going to say anything about the positives, though, some positives about this series is the biggest one for me is going to be the backstories. He gives the main characters such compelling and drawing backstories. One example is, and I will use this, is that of the navigator. Her name is Nami. And the character of Nami, when she was a baby, was saved from a battleground by one of the Marines that had been gravely injured. Her name was Bellamere. Bellamere took her in. Of course, she left the Navy. And then she went to go live on an island and try and live in peace. She was raising her and another little girl that was with baby Nami. And raising them and, teaching them and things like that. But they were very mischievous kids because it seems as though Bellamere had no money. So with her not making any money, they can't truly provide for themselves. Nami, wanting more for her life, began to be a thief. So that kind of caused some affliction in the town, but there's still that love relationship between someone who took these girls in and, trying to raise them right. But in the midst of all of this, they were attacked by some mer people pirates. Wow, did I mess that up? Some mermen that came in and they attacked fishmen. Oh my gosh. Talk about loving the series and don't know what you're talking about. The fishmen attacked the island, and there was the Arlong pirates. They took over the island, used that as their main place, their home base, as they go and ravaged other places and took money, and he wanted to make a nation there on that land. But he enslaved the people, making them pay taxes and working for him, and if they didn't do it, he would immediately kill them. Arlong was ruthless, and this is, of course, traumatizing for this little girl, because another thing that Nami is famous for was Nami was able to easily comprehend the weather patterns that's happening out at sea. And so, for some reason, she was able to utilize that to make maps. And because she was able to design maps, Arlong wanted to use her to make maps for him. So again, like he could conquer this portion of the sea. And so, in doing that, Bellamere came to her defense to save her. And so, to fight for her, Bellamere ended up sacrificing her life to fight for Nami. But then Nami got taken in by the Arlong pirates. And thankfully, due to meeting Luffy, she was able to be freed from her bondage and her nation was set free. The other thing to recognize that's a positive as well is this is masterfully capturing the basic shonen tropes that are needed for a shonen series to, of course, be successful amongst young men. And that is, of course, battle. There's comedy. There are some plays, and to be honest, there are some plays on fan service, but they capitalize on these three facets of it being a shonen series. Battle, comedy, tough guys, those types of things, and the fan service, them utilizing all of those pieces plays a huge part in making the series successful. But another one that, like I said, it's the adventure. That's what makes a shonen series successful, is the adventure. The journey that you are going on as a shonen fan is that of an adventure. And they do a great job of masterfully capturing that and keeping you connected from chapter to chapter, even up to now. Everything's connected in an extremely powerful. All right, everybody. Now it is time, the time you have been waiting for. If you are a Christian, it is the time that we discuss the Christian perspective of the series. Let's talk about some Christian concerns when it comes to reading or watching One Piece. The immediate one is piracy. Piracy is an immediate concern here when we're talking about the series. Why do I say that? Because piracy is not a compliment. That's not a nice thing to be a pirate. Pirates are ones that go about sea robbing, popular boats. They'll either rob the rich people that are on cruises, or they'll attack like warships or shipping boats to take their product and have it for themselves and go stash it away. That is a common practice of those that do piracy. Even more so, a part of that is, and in one sense, again, it's a part of being free because you don't want to be a part of the system, but you're coming against those that are in the system and are innocent, and you're taking that which they have to make it your own, and they're getting nothing out of it. They're just losing out in the end. So that's an extremely complex piece to piracy, because piracy is that robbing people of what it is that they have. And that's extremely frustrating for some people. Their main image for a pirate is that of a skull and crossbones. And of course, they use that for every pirate crew in One Piece. They have their own pirate flags that's symbolic to them and their particular crew. For instance, the main crew is the Straw Hat crew. You have the red-haired pirates, like I said, Red-haired Shanks' crew. You got the Buggy Pirates, which are some threats. Like I told you, there's the Arlong Pirates, which are the fishmen. There's several different pirate crews with several different flags. But that skull and crossbones symbolizes death in the general sense when we're talking about piracy. So that is an extreme concern when it comes to Christians. We don't want to spark some positive aspect of piracy in people because we don't want them to think, well, they keep getting so many things wrong in history that they got pirates wrong. Pirates didn't become pirates because they just wanted to rob people and kill people and bury treasure. There's more to it than that. That is true, but it doesn't change the negative impact that piracy has had across generations, right? So that's a very true concern. The other being, there are some instances where you have characters that are considered gods. Now, I want to kind of double back to that later, but that is a concern too. I can understand that. Anything that's introducing idols of any shape or form is something to spark concern. There is devil fruit even, that is, I think it's called the Buddha fruit or the gold fruit, I don't remember which one, but this allows for one of the admirals in the Navy to transform into a big gold Buddha and fight. So that shows some homage to that, and that could be a concern for someone. I don't want my kids watching anything with a Buddha in it or gods in it, etc. But you got to understand where it comes from, why it applies, right? Again, with this being a story about the world and him capturing different aspects of the world, because I'll talk about it in a minute. But it's capturing aspects of the world, so we can't act like Buddhism doesn't exist as Christians, okay? That's just something I want to make sure to point out. There's Buddhas in it. The other one is devil fruit. As soon as a Christian sees the word devil, it causes their panties to twist.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
Telling you, man. Now, don't get me wrong, I do too. I'm like, hold on, what is that about? I get that. I can understand that concern. Devil fruit. Well, why is it a devil fruit? It's called a devil fruit because it gives you something and takes something away, which is deals that people make with the devil, where the devil's going to give you what it is that you want as long as you sacrifice your soul or sacrifice something to the devil to get what it is that you want. For music, it was portrayed as you get 10 years of success in the music industry and then it takes your life. Some people see that even now today as the 27 Club, I think it's called, where someone is made successful up until they are 27 and then they end up dying by one tragedy or another. So there are different aspects of contracts with the devil, and this is something where people really want their kids to stay away from. If there's a devil fruit in this series, I don't want my kid wanting a devil fruit with no care of what he loses by making some crazy sacrifice, right? So that's a concern there, and I can completely understand that. And again, some people I can't justify this, and I'm not even going to try to. That can be very conflicting to know that there are devil fruit in One Piece, right? These are some Christian concerns. Now, as we draw this video to a close, I want to actually hit on the positives of this for a Christian when we're talking about One Piece. The first positive is that going to be of an adventure. Why is an adventure a positive for a Christian? The reason an adventure is a positive for a Christian is because Christians since the beginning of time, believers in God since the beginning of time, have been called to go out and experience the world. Adam and Eve, they were called to take dominion over the earth, to be fruitful and to multiply, to establish basically a nation in this world, to live. And God wanted to witness us living out in this world. Of course, the fall happened. We know how that played out, etc. Now, that leads me to Abraham. Abraham being a guy comfortable, rich, living at home, married, I got everything I need except for a child. In that pursuit of, having more and believing God for more, God calls him and tells him, I need you to leave your father's house. This man goes from living in the land of Canaan to going out into Egypt and different places in other countries, building tents, meeting other nations, making mistakes in this process, and experiencing the challenges that you would face out in the real world. So as Christians, we are called to have those experiences. It continues on throughout the entirety of the Bible, man. Even when you get to Jesus, Jesus came to minister the truth of the gospel to the Jews. But when he went and resurrected from the dead, went to heaven to live with his Father, he challenged us to spread the gospel to the rest of the world. And that's what the disciples, the apostles, the other believers in Christ at the beginning of the church went and did. They shared the gospel across the world. So it's your responsibility. You are called to an adventure as a Christian. You're called to it. So that's a positive here, is to see some young kid who knows nothing about what really happens, because when you read the story, you see some stuff. You see some stuff. And it's up to them to do what they're going to do when going out into this world. Okay? This is another piece of it that I think is so very meaningful and powerful, is the topic of freedom. Luffy, yes, is in pursuit of the One Piece. Yes, wants to be Pirate King. But what that means to Monkey D. Luffy is that means you want to be free. I want to live free. I want to experience pure freedom. Now, as Christians, we know better than anybody that freedom is found in the Lord. And for anyone pursuing freedom, that's an immediate opportunity for gospel sharing. And with Luffy pursuing freedom, here's something else that he demonstrates, and this is going to hit y'all a little bit. When Luffy's pursuing his freedom, his adventure, going on to seek the One Piece, like I gave you that story where Nami, the navigator, was in captivity to the Arlong pirates. Although Luffy, yes, wanted her to be a part of his pirate crew, he also wanted to free this country from bondage. The Arlong pirates had them, right? And he goes and does this throughout the entirety of the series. He's going from place to place, sure, having his good time, but when he notices an oppressive system is in place, or oppressive person, or there's some underlying scheme happening to come against a people that don't know what's going on, he comes to their defense. He fights for them to be free. And what message does that speak to any Christian? What does that message speak to me? It speaks that in my pursuit of being free, I cannot be free and sit back and watch others not be free. I can't act like there's nothing that I can do to help someone else be free. You have been saved by the gospel, which is what set you free. You can share the gospel, which will help set other people free. And if that is not a powerful message in the series, I don't know what is. Without directly telling you of Jesus, that's powerful. That is magnificent. And I can't tell any Christian to act like that's not true. That's what we're called here to do. To be free and lead others to freedom. Luffy knows I can't be free and others not be free. I can't act like others can't be free. I got to do what I can to make sure they are free as well, like me, along the way. To do whatever it is that they're going to do with their life. Amen? Okay. This last little bit is with something that's known as the poneglyphs. Now you might be asking, what are the poneglyphs? The poneglyphs are stones written in a hidden language that barely anyone can interpret, save a couple of different characters, some people who've already died, and the philosopher in Luffy's crew, known as Robin. She's the only one that readily can read the poneglyphs. And so, in being able to read this language, you are learning about an ancient civilization, an ancient group of people, culture of people that used to exist. But they had warfare with the Navy. The Navy attempted to wipe this race out entirely, and even more so, keep the mysteries of who they are, where they came from, and what they stood for hidden from the rest of the world. They don't want the world to know anything about it. They don't even tell the world They don't even tell the world what they did. They don't know anything. They don't even tell a lie about what happened. They just don't want anyone to know that even exists. Now, this is where it speculates that Luffy and anyone with D in their name, surprise, surprise, Gold Roger isn't Gold Roger. He's Gold D Roger. They just changed his name to hide the D. But Gold D Roger is also believed to be a part of this civilization. Luffy and anyone in that lineage, they are believed to be related to that ancient group of people, and they're trying to keep them silent, trying to keep their message silent. Now, why is this so significant? Because this is so significant because they treat the word like this. The word is a powerful message that is looking to save lives and free people. In the way to pursuing the One Piece, you need to be able to read this hidden language or understand what the message is in this language to get to the One Piece. Gold Roger could read the language, so that's how he was able to figure out how to get there. Robin can read the language, so she can help Luffy get to where the One Piece is. And when you are able to understand the hidden mysteries of the Bible, that leads you to freedom in Jesus. In this series, as they are reading and understanding the Poneglyphs as it's leading them to the One Piece, it's allowing them to pursue this one particular way, you've heard it, this one particular way to get to the One Piece, to get to freedom. The word says that Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. Nobody can come to the Father except through me. Nobody can hope to find the One Piece except through the Poneglyphs, through the word on the Poneglyphs, to lead them to where this is. And if that ain't a Christian message, come on now. Don't act like you don't know what I'm talking about. But One Piece encapsulates several different Christian messages, freeing people, understanding the mysteries of the ways of the word, to pursue freedom, to go on an adventure and not be afraid of what's hidden in this world. We are called to live in this world and not be of it. We are called to face this world and not be okay with its captivity and its enslavement of people. And the natural, the mental, the spiritual, we are here to combat it, guys. And that's the powerful message of the series known as One Piece. And I pray that this video has blessed you. I hope that you guys have a good time. Again, please make sure you subscribe, like, and leave a comment. Y'all have a blessed one. Peace.